so let's transition a little bit now into let's talk about a little bit of the draft, a little bit about the lottery. The lottery happened last couple days ago, last Tuesday. Pretty good results. Pretty kind of shocking, I guess, in some spots, especially with the Phoenix Suns.
Yeah.
And kind of played out a little bit towards how he kind of thought it was.
Projections.
Nothing huge changed, but a few little spots changed here and there. Let's talk about a little bit about what your thoughts were of the lottery and kind of going forward, what you think about the draft.
Yeah, so the whole percentage thing kind of worked out where the Celtics got 1 via the Nets and then the Lakers got 2. I just am so, what are the Celtics gonna do?
Yeah,
Markelle Fultz is apparently the best prospect. Kind of how I talked about Lonzo's stats, and Lonzo once again was 14.6 points per game with a 7.6 assist. Markelle Fultz was 23.2 points a game and 5.9 assists.
Okay.
So that's a pretty good comparison where Markelle Fultz is a scorer.
Right.
But what are the Celtics gonna do with that? I don't really know if it's the smartest thing to pick up another point guard.
Yeah, I mean here's the thing. I've kind of gone back and forth and between the talking heads on different sports shows.
Mm-hmm.
I've kind of gone back and forth whether what they should do with this pick, and I've thought they should trade it, but now I kind of maybe think that they should take Fultz. I don't know, and here's my reason why. So I don't think there's anyone in the league that they could pick up, even Paul George or Jimmy Butler or Gordon Hayward in free agency. I don't think any of those players that we've heard about that might go to the Celtics, I don't think any of them gets you past LeBron.
No.
And
maybe you only lose by 24 instead of 44.
Yeah, and so I don't know if you're necessarily going to beat LeBron until he's out of the league or at least out of the East.
Yeah.
Right? So that's kind of why I think take Markelle Fultz, let him develop for 4 or 5 years. Maybe 5 years from now, LeBron's in his last stretch. Maybe you can sneak by him then. So that's why I think maybe you should take him and play behind Isaiah Thomas and let him develop, and then maybe you could deal Isaiah Thomas in 3 or 4 years for a different piece, maybe. I don't know. But then I kind of think, well, they should trade him, and they still got to at least try. I mean, it's hard to sell to your fans. We were the number 1 seed in the East. We have the number 1 draft pick, and then we're going to rebuild.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of hard to sell
Seriously.
that because your fan base expects you to win. They expect you to push. And
especially
this is
with the number 1 seed.
This is your window to go after the Cavs. You got to go for it. I don't think they can sell a rebuild again in Boston.
No way.
After they've just got the number 1 seed and the number 1 pick. So I kind of think you do have to trade it, but I'm kind of torn. What do you think?
Yeah, I think you need to trade it and get a 3, get a small forward, because being a number 1 seed and getting swept, and not just swept but brutally swept, losing by 44 on your home court. I mean, there's obviously a missing piece there. I think you gotta trade, and you gotta get something else out of that.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's tough. If they get a Paul George, if they get a Jimmy Butler, the best thing that would work out for the Celtics is if they got Gordon Hayward in free agency.
Yeah.
Then they could take the pick, or they could trade the pick, but there's not as much pressure if they get Gordon Hayward in free agency, which who knows what's going to happen. Maybe he stays in Utah, maybe he doesn't. One thing that might benefit the Celtics in this situation is that Gordon Hayward didn't make an All-NBA team, which means that he can't make a supermax contract worth about $205 million, that range. So he basically could go to the Celtics and get the same amount of money as the Jazz. So who knows what will happen? And if you get Gordon Hayward in free agency, the pressure is off with that pick for at least right now. You've satisfied your fan base with Gordon Hayward and maybe getting another piece to go after LeBron. And then you can take Fultz to kind of even amp it up even more. And he can come in and maybe be a good solid scorer off of the bench for next season, maybe in 2 seasons from now when you're trying to go after LeBron. But, again, another question is you don't just have to get past LeBron. You got to get past the Warriors too. So, maybe you draft to get past LeBron, but you still got to face a juggernaut, which is the Warriors.
That's right.
And I just don't see it happening for the next 3 or 4 years at least.
Anyway, switching gears, getting off the Celtics a little bit. The Phoenix Suns I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
So I saw a stat this year that the Kentucky Wildcats, this is college ball, Kentucky Wildcats, the average age of their starting 5 was older than the Phoenix Suns starting 5.
Wow.
Now let me repeat that. The Kentucky Wildcats starting 5 is older, their average age, than the Phoenix Suns.
Starting 5.
No, starting 5.
So that's
scary.
Especially because Kentucky's known for being one and done.
Exactly.
So there's a lot of 19, 18-year-old, 17, or not 17, 18, 19, 20-year-old kids. That's substantial.
That is scary. And the projections with them number 4, they're looking to get about Jason Tatum, who both Dre and I think is a phenomenal, wonderful prospect.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm a big Duke guy.
Yeah.
So I watched a lot of their games, and he was injured for the first 7 or so games of the season. But I think we just saw just scraping the bottom of what Jason Tatum can be. I think he could be a LeBron type player.
Yeah.
Now he's not going to be nearly as good as LeBron. I don't think. But he could be that type of a player. He's a big guy. He's 6'7", 6'8". You know, he's a big guy and he's got a long wingspan, and I think he's probably one of the most athletic guys, if nothing else, in the draft.
And we know Devin Booker had his amazing game. He put up 70 or whatever, so he's obviously a scorer. Of course, there's a little controversy with, they're pretty much passing the ball every time. But you got that young core who is younger than the Kentucky Wildcats, and in the NBA, no young team will win the finals. You got to have experience. You got to have veterans. So I'm not saying immediately they're going to make the playoffs. There's still a few years. But, 3 or 4 years down the road, if you can keep this core together of Jason Tatum and Booker and these young guys who are younger than the Kentucky Wildcats, they could be really scary in 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good thing to sell your fan base, right? I mean, even though you're not winning games right now, but you're going to get a solid pick, at least the number 4 pick. You're going to probably get either Josh Jackson or Justin Jackson, excuse me, or Jason Tatum, which I don't think you can go wrong with either of those guys, especially because they do need a small forward. And I think that makes them very interesting for next year, and not only next year, but going forward. So who do you think? What are your kind of thoughts for next year? Who are your favorites going into next year? Let's exclude the Cavs and the Warriors. We know that they're probably going to be good, and they might meet in the finals a 4th time. Who is going to be your favorites going into next year?
So kind of a dark horse that I think that will not only make the playoffs next year, but make a little bit of a run is the Pelicans.
Okay.
The New Orleans Pelicans.
Wow.
Adding DeMarcus Cousins with Anthony Davis. They got a few games at the end of the year to kind of gel.
Right.
But with an off season and then a whole season, that's pretty scary. Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins on the same. I mean, the West has got a lot of great guards. You got Damian Lillard, Curry, Chris Paul. But really the New Orleans Pelicans with those posts, those big guys, that's pretty scary. I think that they can not only make the playoffs, I think they're making a little bit of a run.
Really? Okay, that's definitely a dark horse.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go a little bit of a different route with a dark horse. I'm gonna say the Philadelphia 76ers.
Whoa.
Now you're gonna say, whoa, back up. But hear me out. They have Joel Embiid, which is he showed progress. I mean, he showed that he can play.
He could be the rookie of the year
if he stays healthy. Now that's the question. This is kind of a big question of whether he stays healthy. I like him. I like the 76ers. If he doesn't, then who knows what will happen. They might get Josh Jackson or Jason Tatum, whoever's going to go 3 or 4. They've got Jahlil Okafor, another Duke guy. I love him.
Yep.
They've got a good young core as well, a lot like the Phoenix team that we were talking about a minute ago. They got a good young core. They got a couple of good draft picks. They got a couple, I believe, in the first round. They're going to get a few good guys coming in. Now, whether they make a run next year, I don't know. Maybe they sneak into the 8th spot if they all stay healthy and play well, and if Josh Jackson or whoever they get, Jason Tatum, if they can come in and contribute. We'll see. But I do like them going forward.
Yeah, that is kind of a whoa because they're the number 3 pick, in the lottery. But they, possibly could, if Embiid stays healthy, could make a little bit of a playoff appearance, 7 or 8 seed.
Right, I agree. I mean, it'll be very interesting to see. It's a fun time of the year. I said it last show. It's one of my favorite times of the year. We got the NBA playoffs and the NBA finals right around the corner. We got the NBA draft, which I always love to watch. I always get thrilled to watch the NBA draft. And all that kind of stuff it just gets me really excited, and it gets me even more excited for next year, even though we're still 4 or 5 months away from the start of next season.
Yep.
But it should be good. Like I said, NBA draft going to be on June 22nd, if we're not mistaken. But yeah, we're excited to see what's going to happen, and we'll keep you updated.
Send me playoff tickets to DeMarcus Cousins. I predicted you before anyone else.